Let us consider one very important topic in the statics part called as the friction. Now friction, the word you must have heard of, and is a kind of force which is purely reactive one. Consider the case some block is kept on some surface. Say its weight is W. It is given that the coefficient of friction is mu. The coefficient of limiting friction, the wording is limiting friction, is mu. The very first question that we ask is whether at this situation will there be any frictional force. We are just asking a question as whether there will be any frictional force present in this case. Let us consider the weight as say 100 newtons. And we say that in this case there is no friction, because friction will come into picture only when the two bodies or the two surfaces which are in contact, they will try to have the relative motion among them. That means there should be some agency which is trying to move this particular block along the surface either towards right or towards left. So there should be some motion between the surfaces relative to each other, and they will try to rub against each other, and there will be some resistance which will be generated by the surface to this particular movement. And so the particular concept of friction is purely the reactive one. So the friction will try to oppose the movement. Friction will try to oppose the movement. Of course, it has got a limitation that it cannot oppose the movement fully. Up to a limit it will be opposing it. Now consider the same situation once again. When we have this block of 100 newtons and we are given that mu is equal to 0.3. And suppose some force P is applied whose magnitude is 10 newtons. Now due to application of this particular force 10 newtons, the block will try to move in the opposite direction. Will try to move in the direction of the force, that is towards right. And the frictional force will come into picture and it will try to oppose this motion. And so the frictional force will come into picture. Now this frictional force is dependent on the total load also. So there will be some reaction called as the normal reaction given by the surface. And we find that in situation, the observation in this case is block does not move. Though we have applied the force of 10 newtons to this block of 100 newtons, which is kept on a surface where the coefficient of friction is 0.3. After the application of force, we find that the block does not move. If the block does not move, it simply means that the system is in equilibrium. If the system is in equilibrium, then you will easily say that by sigma Fy equal to 0, it will be minus 100 plus n equal to 0. And so the normal reaction will turn out to be 100 newtons. Sigma Fx will tell us that it is P minus F is equal to 0, or F is equal to P, which will be equal to 10 newtons. Now here we are saying that the observation is block does not move, and so the frictional force comes out to be 10 newtons.